Hey everybody, I had another quick update that I wanted to give everyone. I got some really bad news, but it turns out that this bad news is going to work out in a really good way. This last Thursday I went to an infusion center where they give different types of IV therapy. And a good friend of mine had recommended that I research IVIG, which is intravenous immunoglobulin. I think I've mentioned it before in one of my other videos. But I went and actually saw one of the neurologists that works at this infusion center. And they did what was called an EMG test on my nerves. And basically what they were looking for is nerves that are not firing correctly. And it was a two-part test. The first part was done by a technician. She used electrical probe to basically shock my lower legs and force different nerves to fire. And she was looking for nerves that weren't firing correctly, measuring the time it takes from the electrical shock to actually stimulate the nerve to do whatever kind of contraction or movement that nerve is responsible for. So she told the doctor that she could only find 2 nerves in my lower legs from the knee down that were not quite correct. And so the doctor needed 3 nerves in order to justify IVIG therapy for me. And I kind of told him, I said, you know, you guys are kind of looking in the wrong area. You need to be looking up closer to my hips and thighs, because my hip flexors are really the ones that are having the most difficulty. And the doctor was like, oh, well, let's go check that out. So the EMG revolves around a needle being stuck into the nerve. It's not very pleasant, but it's not intolerable. I mean, it's okay to... It wasn't so bad that I couldn't get through it. But he put the needle in my right thigh, and there's an auditory sample of what the propagation of that nerve sounds like. And so he stuck the needle in and was listening to the nerve. I could hear it, on the audio. And he's like, oh, wow. And I'm like, wow, that's probably not something you want your doctor to say. He's like, I'm like, is that a bad thing? And he's like, man, just a second. And he opened up the door, and he yells out, he says, hey, you guys want to hear something really cool? And I'm like, man, this cannot be good. So 2 or 3 of the technicians and nurses came in, and one of the nurses is listening, and she's like, wow, we haven't heard one of those in a long time. So he did some more probing and more testing, and he says, yeah, you're definitely suffering a severe neuropathy. And he kind of looked at me, he's like, how are you living in there, And so I told him, I said, well, depending on how you feel, you establish a baseline and you kind of adapt to it, and you know where your peaks and your valleys are according to that baseline, and that's how I live with it. And he's like, yeah, you're definitely a candidate for IVIG. Now the whole point of IVIG is to reduce inflammation in the nerves. He basically diagnosed me there on the spot with CIPD. The CIPD is chronic inflammatory demyelinating polyneuropathy. It means that your nerves just aren't firing or working correctly. And so he definitely got his 3 nerves on me and is able to justify the IVIG therapy. Now the good thing about it is that this could really lower my inflammation in my central nervous system and in my peripheral nervous system. Which can only be a good thing. And when combined with my stem cell therapy in Panama, this could be like a double-edged or a 2-prong attack on my illness. You eliminate the inflammation using IVIG, and then you're rebuilding the damage using the stem cell therapy. So they could very well work hand in hand with each other, and it's just to think about it, it's very, very hopeful for me. So I just wanted to give you guys a quick update and let you know that that's kind of what's going to happen. Probably the week after next, they'll start me on IVIG therapy, which is 2 infusions. You'll come in for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, 2 days in a row, and then they'll do that to you every 3 weeks is sort of the protocol. And right now I'm just waiting for them to determine dosing and to determine what my insurance will and won't pay for, which hopefully will be everything. I've met all my out-of-pocket deductible and out-of-pocket expenses for the entire year, so from now until December I should be good to go. But like I said, it's a really hopeful thing. It's very bad news to be diagnosed with CIPD, but also it's going to be good news because it allows me to be on this therapy, and it really could be a good help for me. So anyway, I just wanted to get that update out to everybody. I hope everybody is enjoying their Labor Day weekend. I'm enjoying mine, so I hope everybody's doing good, and we'll see you on the next update. Take care. Bye.